It's now time to head on over to Leading Edge Injury Law. This will be presented to us by Mr. Paul Sumiko, attorney at law. To moderate this particular segment, we have our physician, Dr. Rajesh Nandan Mehra, from Chantilly Family Practice Center. Here, Dr. Mehra questions attorney Sumiko on initial steps taken in handling car accidents. Let's join these two professionals in their legal discussion.
Good morning. This is Dr. Rajesh Mehra, and I am so happy that you've decided to beam us into your homes this morning. We're doing a series on leading edge injury law, and I'm honored and privileged to have with me in our studios this morning a very prominent attorney in this topic of injury law, personal injury, Mr. Paul Sumiko. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Good. You didn't tell me before that you actually wrote a book.
I'm a shy guy.
You're a shy guy, that you're a big author, and I'm going to read the title because if I mess it up, you won't be happy.
Okay.
So it's called Critical Things, Eight Criticals. See, I already messed up.
There you go. But it's okay. I still like you.
Oh, you still okay, let's start all over. 8 critical things your auto accident attorney won't tell you. Why and how to prepare so you get the best when you need it the most. By Paul Sumiko. So it's a mouthful, but
it is.
It sounds like it's reading material if you unfortunately get in an accident, right?
I like to think of it as a resource so you can prepare in advance before something bad happens.
Right.
And certainly after the fact, if something bad has happened, again, then it's, in my humble opinion, it's even more valuable.
It's more valuable.
Right.
In the last couple of segments, we've been discussing fender benders, how to take care of them. We discussed more serious accidents, how to take care of them. Today, I want you to educate our audience about sort of the interrelationships of the various insurances that are involved. And I don't want to really tell you this, but even being a physician, and I actually practice some personal injury medicine, I don't even understand at times how all this works and how is it supposed to work. So just tell us from like A to Z, how do the car insurances, I know 10 minutes is not enough, A to Z, how the personal Aetna, Cigna versus the car insurance versus the liability insurance and so forth.
Okay. Well, that's a mouthful.
I know.
And I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
So I like
to talk.
I like to talk.
Right.
That's my downfall.
Right.
There are a few who will listen to me once in a while. The children, not anymore.
No, they're too grown up now.
My wife doesn't laugh at my jokes any longer.
Right.
But I'm going to give it my best shot here.
Let's try it.
Automobile insurance is the first place we look to recover compensation after an injury has occurred that was not our fault. So somebody else causes a collision and you get hurt, you're going to look to their automobile insurance to compensate you for the bad things that occurred.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to talk about the car. I'm going to talk about the person, the body, the injuries.
Right.
Okay? The coverage that is the target is what's referred to as liability insurance.
Right.
The average person walking around in our area has got some insurance policy from some big company or maybe some company not so big with a policy of liability coverage which is required by state law. I'm going to back up for a second. There are certain circumstances where you don't have to have it, but you have to have proof of the assets to cover if you do something wrong. So let's just not talk about the detail, the little asterisk. Let's just talk about the effective state law in Virginia, in Maryland, and Washington. You have to have auto insurance. Now, the insurance companies will sell you what they like to tell you. If you're not informed and you don't know their game, their code words, they're going to tell you that you get full coverage. All full coverage means is that they're selling you the crummiest insurance they can sell you, the bottom of the barrel, minimum state required coverage of liability insurance. And then they'll sell you other portions of coverages for things like fixing your car, which is things called comprehensive and collision coverages. Having the minimum coverage, in Maryland it's $30,000, in Virginia it's $25,000, is driving around, and it's something I like to refer to as financial suicide. The reason for it is if you're the one at fault and you hurt somebody else, it doesn't take much in today's world to have a situation where the claim is worth more than $25,000 or $30,000.
Yeah.
A simple, series of therapies and doctor visits and radiology and MRI, CAT scan,
MRIs,
yeah.
right.
By the time you get finished with adding in the medical bills and the therapy and the wage loss and the suffering value, the claim could easily be more than $25,000 or $50,000 or $30,000. And so if that's all you have, and your insurance company isn't going to pay any more than the contract,
The maximum, right.
they're only going to pay the maximum of the contract you signed with them getting that low coverage, then that person's going to come after you personally. Now, how many in the audience, how many in the world have an extra $75,000, $80,000 or whatever it might be sitting
Not
around
many
to
people.
write a check to somebody who they just
Right.
caused an accident with?
Right.
All right. So you want to have high limits. You want to have at least 100,000, even 500,000, maybe even $1 million worth of liability coverage.
But not everybody can afford that premium.
Thank you
No.
for asking. Okay.
Right.
So here's $25,000 worth of coverage. And let's just say the 6-month premium is $186. Now we go to $100,000 in coverage, 4 times the amount. Take a guess what the premium might be.
You're probably going to say it's not that much increase,
It
$250.
it might be another $15, $20.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh,
Now,
I was going to
mean,
guess $250.
from company to company. I mean,
Right,
you want
right,
to
it's
shop and
gonna
compare.
vary, right.
But when you're buying insurance, it's not about the premium dollar that you're paying. I mean, you don't want to pay this company this and 10 times more to another company. But
Right.
you want to look at lots of things with the insurance. The number one thing is getting the right coverage. Now, I know I'm going to get detailed here, but I'm going to try and give you the elevator version of this, the
Right.
short version. If someone causes an accident and they don't have good insurance or they don't have any insurance at all, you have a provision on your insurance, your auto insurance, which is called uninsured motorist protection, UM for short. If your liability is $25,000, so is your UM. So if you get hurt moderately and you only have $25,000 in UM, which you're now going to use
To pay the rest.
to pay for your bills and medical losses and wage loss and your suffering, because your insurance company becomes the company of the other
Because they don't have it.
because they don't have it or they didn't have enough.
Right.
And so if you only have 25, that's all you get. So now you want to increase your liability limit, you want to increase your UM limit also to protect yourself and all your family members that might be involved in a collision and anybody else that's in your car. Here's the secret. The insurance companies will never tell you this. They tell you the opposite. Using your insurance does not cause your insurance premiums to increase, and they cannot cancel your policy.
You sure?
I'm 100% sure.
I
tell
have
my-
that fear myself
Well,
when I get,
okay.
I'm telling
And
you, I
you're-
thought I
you're-
was educated,
and you're
but
one of the
obviously
most-
I'm not.
You're one of the most highly educated people I know.
Well, I think so, but in this case,
But the insurance companies have fooled you because of their propaganda. Here's what happens. You're familiar with this. You have health insurance. You get sick. You go to the doctor. You
Right.
call the insurance, say, I want you to pay my doctor bill. Because you used your insurance, can they increase your premium? No.
well,
Mostly.
right, mostly not. But
Okay. I mean, if you get sick every other day and the
Right.
diseases are feigned, maybe.
Maybe, right.
But for a one-time or a two-time situation, I tell my clients, if you have an experience where your auto insurance company increased
your
your
rate.
premium
Yeah.
or canceled your policy because you used it, you come back to me, I'm going to take your case for free. How many lawyers take free cases?
Right.
Right. Well, I mean, we do pro bono stuff, but
Right.
not that kind of case.
Right.
I'm so confident of my answer to you, doctor, that I can say this without flinching. They
Right.
cannot increase your
Cancel
premiums.
or increase, okay.
You got the insurance, use it.
So your
Right.
liability insurance, now here's a question that I frequently get asked and is, so if I hit somebody, obviously if I hit you, you're going to go after my insurance, but how does health insurance fit in? If I have
Okay.
Cigna, patients frequently come see me and they argue with me that I don't want you to because of this fear.
Right.
Now, you know what? I have Cigna, I have Aetna, I have this Medicare, whatever. Why don't you bill it through there? So where does that fit in?
Okay. Health insurance, like type of insurance always has exclusions. They always have rules when they will and when they will not pay, and limits on what they'll pay. For the most part, they will not pay if they learn that the cause of the injury was an automobile collision or some other accident, where then the injured person, they're insured, is going to go collect from the other person's insurance. Okay, you following all that?
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes they will. Now here's an interesting concept. Virginia is very consumer friendly. Maryland, not so much.
I see.
In Virginia, if your health insurance pays, for the most part, you don't have to pay them back. There's a couple of exceptions. In Maryland, you do have to pay them back. That's in our world, that's what we call a lien. The health insurance companies have a lien on the recovery that you make from the other person's auto insurance. My advice to my clients is always, if you have health insurance, use it, and that would reduce the amount of the bills that you have to pay later on. Sometimes, and it doesn't hurt to try to use it, even if they say no. Because what ends up happening is that if the medical care provider is a participating provider, often there's a contract which says that if the medical service was normally $100 as an example, now because of the contract they're only allowed to bill $70, so they have to write off $30, which benefits the patient because they're getting $100 worth of medical care for $70, and more often than not, if we have to pay them back, the health insurance company only requires we pay them back 80 or 75 or 80% of the 70 they paid, even more benefit, more money in the client's pocket.
I see. Interesting. So you've got the liability insurance, the health insurance maybe, and then each state varies in some other kind of insurance?
They do, and I'll be brief because I know we're running out of time, but in Virginia you have something called medical payment benefits, or MedPay. MedPay. Again, my discussion is always get as high limits as you can. Go get $20,000 of MedPay. Maryland has something called PIP, P-I-P, Personal Injury Protection. That's what it stands for. And it's not required, but if you get it, you have a minimum of $2,500. A lot of agents will just tell you, oh, you don't need PIP, your health insurance will cover it. Again, the bad insurance agent. Take them off of your holiday list at the end of the year for the card you might want to send them. They're not doing you a favor by telling you that. This is extra money, doctor. It's extra money. You can collect from the liability from the other guy, you can collect from your health insurance, and you can collect from your PIP or your MedPay. In order to not get PIP in Maryland, you have to sign a waiver that says, I don't want this. If you don't sign that waiver, you automatically have at least $2,500. I'm a real nervous guy.
Per accident.
Per accident.
Gotcha.
And per person in the car, you get 12 people in a minivan, they all get $2,500 in PIP. I have a high PIP, okay? Again, because I believe in having lots and lots of coverage, and the amount of the premium to go from the small amount to the large amount is ridiculously small. Most people don't realize that. They want to save money on their insurance. Well, a year later, if you're in a big auto accident and you have lots of medical bills, you're not saving any money now. You wish you had that better coverage.
Right. Well, it is a mouthful, and I know that we haven't exhausted all the questions that our audience may have, but at least we have started the dialogue. I hope our audience understands that be patient with your physician, your lawyer, because there's a lot of relationships here. There's a lot of interplay that people the lawyer has to work out to figure out what's going to happen. Sometimes the two parties don't agree, right? Which is where lawyers come in. So I hope that you got some good, helpful, practical tips out of this segment on insurance and personal injury. Join us again next week when I will have Mr. Sumiko back and entertain some other questions and other ideas regarding personal injury cases. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure again.